Hello and welcome to the Unnamed Automotive Podcast. My name is Sami Hajjasad, and with me as always is my good friend and fellow automotive journalist, Benjamin Hunting. Say hi to the people, Ben.
Greetings, springtime listeners.
Greetings to wintertime listeners. It's still winter around here. It's cold, man.
I'm just putting the energy that I want to see in the world out into the world. And right now, it's all about springtime for me.
This is the words and wisdom of my good friend, Benjamin Hunting. The fact that he is my good friend is far more important than the fact that he is a very successful automotive journalist. He's so
trying to control the weather with vibes alone.
Yeah, he's so successful that in addition to his vibe-powered weather control, you can find his work all over the internet. Ben, plug some publications.
You can find my work at the Weather Channel.
No, you can't.
The Weather Network.
Are those two different things?
Weathercars.edu.
Come on, be real. People want to read your stuff.
Motor Trend, Haggerty, and Inside Hook, and Driving.ca. Let's go with those. Also, though, check the weather. The weather is important.
You don't contribute to the weather as much as you think you do. I'm going to be clear here.
I don't want to have that conversation.
You can find my work all over the internet, well, in a couple of very important places, autotrader.ca and driving.ca, as well as driving.ca's YouTube channel.
What about their Vimeo channel?
I don't think we've published to them in a long time.
That's too bad. Vimeo's still around, right? Like it's
Vimeo? Yeah, man. It's not Vine. Although Vine, I think, came back.
No one uses Vimeo, and yet all the Vimeos that have ever been uploaded still exist. Like, who's paying for that?
Vimeo says 287 million users have it.
I would wager that more than that is uploaded to YouTube every day.
Every hour. I'm not on Vimeo. Should I be on Vimeo? I've been told that Vimeo is great because it has really good quality.
The only times I've been on Vimeo in recent years is apparently independent filmmakers put like short films there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why versus YouTube, but it just seems to be a thing that happens. So that's like every once in a while I'll see a link and it's to someone's like 13-minute film and it's Vimeo. And that's the only time I go back there. I also have one video on Vimeo from the 2000s of a fish tank that I made out of an Mac 2 because my partner at the time had a Vimeo account and YouTube wasn't really
What's a Mac 2? An Apple Mac. Yes.
Yeah, a classic Mac 2. And I needed to host that video and there was no real YouTube in that period. Vimeo was still like duking it out to be the de facto standard of online video.
Okay. I get it. Ben, we don't usually talk about video publications.
No, normally it's climate and springtime and snowfall.
That's what you think we talk about all the time?
Yeah. I mean, before the podcast, that's all we talk about. That's what our buildup is.
And after the podcast?
After the podcast, usually we get the anemometer out and we talk about wind speed.
What about the pressure?
The barometric pressure?
Yeah, I think, is there another kind of pressure? What about
I can tell you right now,
parental pressure to succeed in life?
It's 2,943 milligrams of mercury and it's dropping. I do have a weather station on my desk and I'm looking at it.
Ben, we've got to talk about cars because that's what we do on this podcast.
Everyone is tuned out. It's too late.
It's not too late. It's called the Unnamed Automotive Podcast because we talk about cars and we forgot to name it when we first started it like 10 years ago. So let's talk about cars. I want to start this week because I drove a car that we haven't talked about in a really long time. I think I haven't even checked the numbers. Have you checked the numbers?
The numbers on the Hyundai Elantra, Sammy?
No, the car I drove.
Oh, the car you drove. Well, it's too late because we're talking about the Elantra.
Wow, I've never been rejected so hard. That was like some Matumbo stuff right there.
Do you know what happened is I wasn't really listening.
I know, I can tell.
I assumed...
You were still looking at your weather station?
I was fondly looking at my weather station, and I assumed we were going to start with the Elantra. The last time we talked about the Elantra was the Elantra N, and that was in 2022, 4 years ago. That same year, we also talked about the Elantra N Line, which is what we're talking about today. So
okay,
I believe that 2022 was the last time the vehicle was redesigned. That's not right. There was a refresh in 24.
Yeah, there's like they changed like the headlights somehow.
Yeah, things got a little different. But it's still pretty much the same idea. Hyundai is doing cool stuff with most of their cars, and in a way that, you know, a lot of automakers have abandoned the compact car market. You've got companies like Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai, Mazda, I guess, as well, as right up there. They're all still in the thick of it.
Okay.
And Volkswagen as well, although to a little bit of a lesser extent. And in that sense, each of those companies, except for Toyota, I think, offers a high performance compact sedan. In this, and when I say high performance, I know Toyota has the oh my goodness, the
Corolla GR, hatchback though.
But that's not really, it's a hatchback. So that's more in line with like the GTI and the Golf and all that stuff.
Okay.
But there's the Jetta GLI, which has been a long time, you know, kind of hot sedan. There is the Honda Civic Si, which essentially invented the segment a long time ago, 25, 35 years ago. And coming into the mix, the much newer competitor is the N Line. It's strange.
It's probably the newest of all of them, right?
And I've never really thought of the N Line as a competitor for the SI, even though that's what it is. And why?
No, I've definitely. I've always looked at that. I've always been asked to do like comparisons between SIs and the N Line. But so it is a weird thing to talk about because it just doesn't have the same punch, I think, as like SI or GLI, or even when Mazda 3 Turbo, right? Like, I love that one.
Yeah, it's that weird period where every car company decided that their performance line was going to be represented by a single letter.
Yeah, or some set of them. Yeah,
you had to pick up. No, it's almost always a single letter though, right? Like Honda doesn't have a performance line; they have individual performance cars.
Yeah.
But
there was a time when Kia thought GT was their thing, GT or GT line.
Kia, what are you talking about?
Kia Forte GT, baby.
I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
Well, there's no GT department, is there? Like, there's an N division at Hyundai, but is there a GT division at Kia?
Well, they sent somebody with a Stinger to the Nürburgring. At least one guy.
I think that GT was more of a trim level.
Okay.
In terms of marketing.
Okay.
Do you have a GT jacket?
No. Should I?
I don't know.
Is that what changes?
So I think it was all done, I think, to copy BMW's M. That seems to be like, I think Cadillac did it first with V. That was their first copy.
Okay.
And then we have N, and we have, what else is out there that's doing the same kind of thing?
One letter at a time?
Yeah, one letter at a time. I guess you could say RS is its own thing. That's 2 letters, but that wasn't really a copy. That's
Audi's thing?
I think Audi's thing, it grew from trim levels.
Yeah.
They had trim levels with RS, and then they decided to make RS its own separate deal.
Then there was like SRT. That's 3 letters.
SRT actually stands for something, though.
Street racing?
Street race technology.
But you're not supposed to be racing on the street.
It's 2 separate concepts, Sammy.
Oh.
Street. There's a missing ampersand.
Okay.
Getting us back to this Elantra.
Do you have to? Hold on. Wait, I want more. I want more of this.
What else is there? Ford briefly tried to have RS.
There's Honda and Acura. We did Honda. What about Acura and their Type S and Type R?
Ford had SVT. Yeah, Type S is definitely a thing.
SVT. Yeah.
But SVT
and then they changed to ST for a while. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
They still are doing STs.
But it was all under the Ford Racing banner too, I think, for a while too. Very complicated.
I hate these things. I hate the unnecessary amount of sub-brands.
It's just marketing.
Just call the thing the Sport and be done with it. Just call it the Honda Passport Sport.
No, it says to be the SPD. Isn't that the Honda thing?
HPD? HPD. What is SPD?
I don't know, but HPD is an unfortunate acronym.
It's awful.
Almost as bad as Subarus.
Yeah, Subarus. STI. And then they have these other ones. What are they called? TS. Ooh.
That's just a subset. It's tuned by STI, right? Like,
I hate these things. Tell me that N Line. I don't even know what we're doing here with this N Line thing, because I think you can get N Line trims of the Tucson, or you used to be able to.
Yeah, it's because it's similar to like the M line. Isn't there like an M line for BMW? Or is M Sport?
M Sport, and that's it.
That gives us things like the M340.
Yeah.
And the M50. and the
Yeah.
M70. These are
It's
not
so
actual
sad that I know
vehicles.
exactly what the cars are related to those
Yeah.
engine designations.
So where it works with the Elantra is the Elantra is already a pretty interesting looking car. It's definitely not boring. It's
Mhm.
definitely not just wallpaper, which a lot of compact cars were for a very long time. And then in the 2010s, they were suddenly remembered you could design an interesting looking car that was cheap to buy. So the Elantra is cool to look at. The Elantra N is more aggressive to look at. It kind of has more sharp edges than the regular Elantra. There's a different bumper, different wheels, different bumper at the back. I think there's these twin exhaust tips on one side of the car, which I think is a little ungainly. It's the only part of the N line treatment I don't particularly like.
Okay.
But inside the car, it looks pretty good. You have red piping on all the seats, on the dashboard, on the door cards. Everything else is black, monochromatic, plasticky. Not plasticky in a negative sense, just what you would expect from like a car at the price point of the Elantra. But the seats are nice, and the red really does spiffy things up. But the rest of the interior is very Elantra, you know. So
Okay.
we're walking the line here between an actual high performance car and a sporty compact car.
Well, no, I think that's exactly. It's a sport compact without being a high performance thing. Something changed. I mean, I think a long time ago the SI was seen as the high performance version of a Civic, and then
Only because we didn't get the Type R here.
yeah, and then like SI, I think we called it the SIR or the Type R at some point in the early 2000s. Kind of came and changed that, and then there was a bit of like an arms race. There was like the Mazda Speed torque steer thing. That thing was torque steer central, and then there was like really high performance cars like the Focus RS, the Golf R, and they like really pushed this whole category. So I'm totally comfortable calling this thing a sport compact in the ultimate way. Like this is it's not a hot hatch or whatever, because one, it's not a hatchback, and two, you know, I would call like a Golf R.
And Hyundai never made a hot hatch, right? Like they had the
Veloster N.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I was thinking Elantra with the Elantra Touring.
Oh yeah,
and they made a more fun version of that. I think it was actually called the GT, but it didn't have any drivetrain upgrades. It was essentially a suspension package. From what
I love the Veloster N. There's I think two in the neighborhood near me, and I can always hear them fire up. And
yeah, the Veloster N is a super cool car, just like the Elantra N is a super cool car. These are fun vehicles. I think,
and the Veloster N was like super affordable when it came out too, wasn't it?
And there was also I want to say a Veloster Turbo that was before the N came out that was pretty cool to drive as well. And I think that engine in the Veloster Turbo, I think what's in the Elantra N Line is an evolution of that.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's like near 200 horsepower or so.
Yeah, so the Elantra N Line, has a 1.6 liter turbo with 201 horsepower.
Yeah, and it seems like the same output as like the 1.6 we've had for the past 10 years.
It's 195 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big boost over the regular Elantra. I want to say it's like 55 pound-feet or something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and 30, 35 horsepower more. It's not nothing. It's a front-wheel drive. The car comes with my car, and I think all of them, a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. I don't think there's a manual available for this anymore. I think you have to get the Elantra N to get the manual. And the Elantra N has like a 2-liter, 276 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder. So it's a very different beast. But this car is not bad to drive. The other, I've already talked about the engine being different. I've talked about the styling. The other key difference for this car is it has a multi-link rear suspension.
Oh,
whereas
okay.
all the other Elantras are torsion beam. So that will make a difference in handling. It can sometimes be a difference of degree because you can really do a lot with a torsion bar, but a torsion axle is really, it's a cost cutting measure. It's an affordable thing to build. It's more comfort oriented than handling oriented. What I found about the Elantra was body control is pretty good. I have a couple of roads around here that has some serious corners and some up down action, and the vertical control, sometimes the car would like really like move up and down, but it would stay planted to the road in the sense that like that motion didn't disrupt its stability.
Okay.
On this, at the same time, the stiffer suspension on the Elantra N Line, it's sometimes I was worried that I was getting like 3 wheels off the ground over bumps.
Wow.
You really feel the bumps in this car and frost heaves and whatnot. Driving normally, it's there. Driven aggressively, it's like amped up by a factor of 5.
Interesting.
But The handling is fine. It's pretty good.
That sounds a bit too harsh.
Well, it is a definite difference. Like in the US, pricing is weird for the Elantra. There's a model called the Limited that is more luxurious in the sense that it has like adaptive cruise control and Hyundai driving assistant and like, the hands-free lane change, I think, and all that stuff. Maybe not the lane change, but like it has the lane following. That's not available in the US on the N Line, but the N Line is like $2,000 more. So in Canada, the N Line gets all of that stuff. It gets the safety gear. So that's a big difference between them. And when I was looking at these cars, I was like, if you're going to be a commuter and you decide, one of the cool things about stuff like the Honda Civic Si is you can drive it every day and it doesn't beat you up really. It's pretty normal to drive. But for the Elantra N Line, there is a sacrifice to make in terms of the comfort, I think, and also the features, like the fact that you can't get this particular adaptive cruise control or any adaptive cruise control in the US.
That's wild.
So you're going to have to make a choice.
I'm not into that. I don't know if I like that much of a compromise.
In Canada, you don't have to make that choice, but in the US, you do. And I think that is strange.
I want to ask you a couple of really quick questions. I believe in the past, the Elantra N Line also changed the transmission from a CVT to a dual clutch.
I mentioned that. It has a 7-speed dual clutch. It's an entirely different drivetrain from the regular Elantra.
And that feels okay. Like Hyundai's had like some hit and misses with its dual clutch transmissions.
So the transmission is, as you said, okay. It doesn't shift particularly quickly. It will lock you out of very aggressive downshifting. And there's a lot of rev hang.
Interesting.
Pretty much all the time. And it will also automatically shift for you in manual mode if it thinks you're not shifting fast enough. So there's a lot of protections built into the drivetrain so that you don't like hurt yourself or incur a warranty repair of some kind.
Okay. So that like starts moving it out of like the upper tier of like a sport compact. Because I think
it's nowhere near the upper tier of sport. I mean,
before we get into like hot hatch, like near like that 300 horsepower level of like performance compacts, I would say that you need to make sure that the powertrain is really responsive and engaging. It plays with you, and the ride quality is more engaging than the mainstream car.
I find that this car is just this side of engaging when it comes to the drivetrain. The chassis is good. As I mentioned earlier, I thought the handling was above average for sure, but the drivetrain's not really fun. It sounds like a vacuum.
That's too bad.
It has like the overhang, the hanging revs, excuse me. And the transmission response is so. It's also a little weird. There's a big drive mode button on the left of the dashboard.
How big are we talking about?
Like the size of a coffee cup lid.
No, what?
It's on a little coffee cup lid like platform, and then in the middle there's the button.
Okay.
And that puts you in sport mode, but there's also a sport mode for the transmission.
Oh yeah. Is this BMW's thing?
I don't know, but
because BMW, you need to do like German car companies love this.
It's not quite that complicated, but the sport mode for the transmission lets you shift by tapping the shifter up and down instead of using the paddle shifters. Whereas you can, if you put it in sport mode, you can just use the paddle shifters. It's a little confusing. Either way, like acceleration is fine. It's just not. It's not a fun drivetrain, and I really think they could have done a lot better with the exhaust note. Like it's essentially non-existent. What you end up hearing is a lot of turbo noise, and that's not super pleasant.
I want to talk to you a little about that. There's like a really weird line as to what constitutes a sporty car, and it has to be like still usable for like the everyday drive. I don't know if you've ever driven this car. I drove this car a few years ago, and I think they've removed it since. It's called the Toyota Corolla Apex Edition.
I didn't drive the Apex Edition, I don't think, but I drove the car that came before it. That was also a hatchback, wasn't it?
No, the Apex Edition was a sedan, and it was the hardest riding car I've probably driven in so long. It was so unexpectedly harsh that I thought something was wrong with it. But that's what Toyota's approach to a performance-oriented version of its compact car. No drivetrain improvements. I think it was a manual only, and it was just this super stiff, really uncomfortable car. And Toto was like, here you go, enthusiast, we've got you. And we were like, oh, my back.
The one thing about the drivetrain that was impressive was the fuel mileage.
Okay.
I got 30 miles per gallon average during my entire week with the vehicle, and that includes some really aggressive driving, and it was cold. So
interesting.
That's 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers on average. That's higher than the I believe that the factory rating from the vehicle is 31 miles per gallon combined. And at one point on a cold day on a test loop that I run, I saw 33. So
wow,
I have no idea how that's possible.
And with a DCT rather than a CVT.
Yeah, so it's either underrated from the factory in terms of fuel mileage, or I had a freak car, but like that's impressive. I think really nice. That's a really good job on Hyundai's part. So that's the one commuter friendly aspect of this vehicle. And I guess also the drivetrain doesn't beat you up when you drive it. Like it's only the suspension. Mm-hmm. Like the drivetrain isn't difficult to drive at a normal pace.
So then we're looking at a car that is like one of the things we talked about in the past when it comes to this like level of performance in a compact car is whether or not this is a engaging car or just an opportunity to like also sell you all of like the premium features and stuff. So obviously this one doesn't come with all of the tech, especially when it comes with
it does in Canada, but not in the US.
Yeah, driver assists and stuff. So it feels a little bit more authentic in that way.
No, it's not an engaging car. It's
so that's because the drive just like a high performance.
Yeah, it's the most powerful
higher
engine.
Yeah.
The most powerful engine you can get in an Elantra before buying the N. I think that's how you have to look at this. So,
but the N is a totally different. So, like, what is the point here? You go into the Elantra, you go to the Hyundai dealership.
Because it's affordable.
You drive the Hyundai and you say, "This is cool, but it's a bit boring." They go, "Well, here, this one has a little bit more power and the steering is significant."
The point is, it doesn't cost you a lot of money. It's like $31,000.
And then in order to get to the N line, it's another 10 or something.
I'm sorry.
To get to the actual N, is how much more?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't comparing it to the N because they're not comparable vehicles.
But they have the same letter.
The base Elantra is $24,000. Mm-hmm. So it's like a $7,000 stretch that covers like 8 different trim levels.
Okay.
In Canada, the pricing for the N line is a little bit more expensive, although it's in keeping. Actually, it's cheaper again if you look at the exchange rate. It's $35,000, and the base Elantra is $25,000. So you have a $10,000 spread here. Again, that's not a lot of money for a car in Canada. No. That is well below the average transaction price, and there are no options on the car, so it's not like you can push the price that much farther. So, like, if you want a stylish car with a stylish car that you can afford with a nice interior, comfortable seats, and 200 horsepower, that's, I think, what the N Line is offering you. It's not going to be, I haven't driven an SI in a while. I don't think the car is as engaging as the SIs I've driven in the past, but for some people that might not matter.
I think the SI is still a high watermark for sport compacts. It's a little bit more like premium than in previous versions, in which like there's more like a tech heavy or feature, or like I think in the US in particular, I think it comes with like fancier seats and different wheels or something like that. And there was another car that I used to really enjoy driving. It was the Mazda 3, the turbocharged model. Super fun. But I guess that's pushing it in terms of price and performance.
Yeah, and also not really, I don't think it's aimed at the same buyer. I don't think it has the same kind of extroverted styling.
Yeah, that's a great point. They've really changed that sort of feel at Mazda. There is no like the enthusiast heavy thing. Is like,
isn't that a 250 horsepower car?
Yeah, maybe you're right. That's a lot.
So that's pretty much all I have to say about the Elantra N Line. I think it's worth taking a look and seeing if you can deal with the rougher/stiffer suspension. But I'm happy that cars like this exist, that someone's doing this. Hyundai doesn't have to do this. You know, I'm sure they sell way more other Elantras than they do N Lines. So it's not necessarily a huge profit center for them, but they want to be playing in that space. And so they decided to do it.
I want to transition this conversation to the car that I drove, which was the 2026 Volkswagen Atlas. I think we should first point out that I believe later this year, Volkswagen is going to introduce a new generation, a new version of the Atlas.
Within a month, that's going to happen.
Oh dear. So I've been driving this, last of its kind, I guess.
Lame duck Atlas.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool to talk about the Atlas because I frequently said that the Volkswagen Atlas was a refresh away from being a really good product. And now it's had that refresh.
And were you right?
I feel it's so close to being good. It just has one glaring problem, and it's the same problem we've talked about in the past when it comes to other Volkswagens. It's an over-reliance on touchscreen technology. And that touchscreen, it's okay, it's responsive and stuff, but like you really have to get used to operating so many things with that touchscreen and the touch buttons around the touchscreen. So I found myself accidentally, even like the sunshade is a touch sensitive button, and it's also next to a bunch of other touch sensitive buttons. And so in order to try to brace my hand to touch this thing, I accidentally called the concierge.
Wait, what? Okay.
The Volkswagen concierge?
When you called the concierge, were they able to activate the feature for you?
No, I was panicking. Once I heard the phone ringing, I'm like, hang up. I'm not trying to do this. I'm trying to close the sunshade. And same thing, like when you're just trying to change like an app on Android Auto, you end up accidentally and I don't know, maybe it's because I live in a city right now that has some of the worst potholes I've ever seen, and I'm just like bouncing around. I'm like, I've got to put my hand on something while I'm using this touchscreen.
Yeah, we knocked a tire out of alignment on the out of balance, on the Outback last week, and broken axle on
your personal Outback, not the 26, 27. The potholes are awful this year. So I'm like, maybe just more often than not, I'm just holding on to like a part of the car to try to adjust the touchscreen. But it's awful. Even like
you need a stick. You need a touch sensitive stick so you can do it without having to move from the driver's side.
But then just the touch,
like a wand.
The aiming of like your fingers onto a touch screen or touch sensitive panel is lame, right? It just doesn't work.
You're not listening to me. There's a wand, okay, and there's an elastic that comes from the ceiling, and it like puts tension on the wand, and then you can. Kind of like a puppet, but it's just for the touchscreen. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
We've solved this problem.
We haven't solved this problem. I think there's a safety concern with a wand floating around.
No. It's a rubber wand.
Is that better or worse?
I don't know. It's easier to clean.
Ew. Now, even like things that I thought were pretty like normal like processes were really like cumbersome to me. For example, this is a big car. It's a 3-row crossover, and I know that it has a surround view or 360-degree camera system. I want to see how close I am to the end of my garage. So I usually, in most cars, I find the camera button. I look at the forward-facing camera in front of like where the bumper is, and I can see how close I am.
I'm amazed.
Usually there's just like a camera button, right?
I'm amazed you can do that, because to me, the front-facing camera is just like a funhouse mirror view of the world around me. I have no idea.
It's even worse in the winter when it's just covered in like grit and sand.
There's
and
no perspective that tells me how close I actually am to something.
Well, I'm getting used to it. But in this car, I was really perplexed as to how to find it. Like, because I know when I go in reverse, there's cameras everywhere. But if I want the specific front-facing camera while driving forward, I had to do some sort of rigmarole, touch the screen a couple of times.
I can tell you how to get it. I can guarantee you, all you have to be doing is entering in a address into the navigation, and the front-facing camera will pop up and wipe that away.
Why?
Every single time.
Why? Why do you think that will happen?
Because it's anytime every time I'm trying to do something with an infotainment screen, I get a camera view out of nowhere that I don't need and that no one needs at any point. And it's so annoying.
What is the one car that I used to laugh so much? Was it a Mercedes CLA or A-Class? Which every time you came up to an intersection, a traffic light, would activate the front-facing camera so you could see the traffic
light view.
And you're sitting there like, no, this is the ideal time for me to do something on the infotainment system.
It's like having a second
driving.
Smaller windshield that just gets in your way.
That takes up your infotainment screen. You can't do anything at this point in time. Okay, anyway, so the way I found out is you press the parking assist button, which is usually used for like automated parking, like perpendicular or parallel parking. And then you have to press a parking sensor button, and then you get this little, like this sidebar of the car's top profile. And then you have to click on the nose of the car or tap on the nose of the car, and then you'll get that screen. Or you put it in reverse. That shows you all of the cameras. Then tap the nose of the car, then put it back into drive, and that won't get rid of the camera. It's a really, you just put a button for the camera. Like, what's the hard problem? Why is this so annoying?
Did you try voice commands?
No, I should have. I really should have, because every time I said Volkswagen, this thing would pop up and be like, what do you want? And I'm like, nothing. I'm trying to do a video here.
It was trying to offer you that camera view, and you just slapped it away, and that's why you couldn't get it ever again. It was like, no, sorry. Now, you had your chance.
I want to be clear. This is the major issue with the Atlas, and possibly the only thing that would stop me from recommending it. In fact, I'm barely on that line of not recommending it to somebody. If this infotainment system thing works for you, this is all you need to do. You just need to test this infotainment system, because the rest of the car is actually really solid. It is super spacious. In fact, I believe it has more cargo space than the Hyundai Palisade that we talked about a few weeks ago. I think it has more passenger space than something like the Toyota Grand Highlander. It is a superbly comfortable, practical, spacious SUV. I'm amazed at how this thing has kind of like slipped under the radar after all of the hype that the Korean cars got in terms of how spacious they are. This thing really delivers in terms of interior space. I was really happy with that. Even the third row, I can put my knees, my knees don't touch the seats in front of me when they're in a comfortable position, which I think is really rare. Usually, like third row leg room is like non-existent in these 3-row crossovers.
No, for sure.
But this isn't the case. The other thing that I really think is worth talking about is in the cabin is that it kind of is, I don't want to say it's lacking in features. It just doesn't have any of the weird gimmicks that other crossovers have. There's no like PA system. There's no in-cabin camera view. There's no ability to modify the second row or third row seats from the driver's seat. There's none of like this weird stuff that maybe you'd find in a fully loaded Palisade. So if those things really stand out to you, if you think that kind of tech really changes the driving and ownership experience, then yeah, maybe that's why the Atlas has kind of fallen off.
Speaking of weird stuff, I just took a look at Atlas sales statistics for 2026 or 2025. Sorry, I just wanted to see like how many they're selling. That's not the weird part. They sold 71,000, which is down like from 75 the year before. But it's the best-selling vehicle that Volkswagen has, other than the Tiguan, which sells 78,000.
So they're both in the under $80,000, under 80,000 units.
Yeah, except the Tiguan sold 94,000 the year before. So that's a pretty big jump for them. But why I'm bringing this up is because the Volkswagen ID Buzz. Do you want to guess how many units they sold in the US last year? This is the electric van.
Under 20,000?
6,140.
Yeah, I was going to say even under 10.
That is just barely less than the GTI, which was 7,235, but it's double the Golf R, which was 3,319. But the one statistic that is the most bizarre out of this entire thing, Volkswagen sold 28 Arteons last year. Did you know the Arteon was still available?
I don't think it is.
Did you know they sold 5 of those in the fourth quarter?
How?
Or 4 of them.
There is not. They don't have the Arteon on their
It's sold.
Website.
It's down 97.8% year over year.
Yeah. Duh.
They sold 1,000 of them in 2024. It has to be old stock, right? Like it can't be. It's not like a 2025 Arteon. I wonder what kind of deal you could get, because they're not bad cars.
What about ID4s? Are they not on the list?
They are, but it's not an unsurprising number. It's 22,000, so I didn't bring it. It's actually
not that
gone
bad
up
at all. Actually,
it's gone up they've gone up 31%.
Something I want to talk about the interior that is positive, that is further and positive, is the gauge cluster. This thing has one of these digital virtual cockpits. I was not. Listen, virtual cockpit. I didn't know your game as good as I do now. There are three panels essentially of it. There's like a center panel and two um like panels on the left and the right. They're totally, each one of them is customizable. You can even have all three of these panels display the same thing. I can make them all have a compass on it. Totally silly thing, but the fact that you can customize it to such an unnecessary degree really stands out. I love it when a car lets you like, here's, all of the things we can do. This is it. And the Atlas lets you do that. It's a very good digital gauge cluster. And in addition to that, it also comes with a head-up display. Because I had the range-topping model. In Canada, it's called the Exec line and costs around $65,000. In the US, it's called the SEL Premium R line, which really rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, everyone looking for that SEL Premium R line.
The thing that really I was worried about when I picked up the car is that I learned that from now on, the Atlas, this three row version of the Atlas, will no longer offer a V6, which is weird to me because the V6 was like my favorite part of the old Atlas.
But you always complain about the V6 in like the Pilot, for example.
Yeah, because that one did not feel good. Like, it just doesn't feel. It feels like it just does not feel responsive in the Pilot, but in the Atlas, it did. I thought it was a really good 6-cylinder engine. So I was concerned how a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine can really be matched to a 3-row crossover like this. And I was off, man. I think that this 4-cylinder feels really solid. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. The output is 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. So it's not that bad. Yes.
Can we all agree that 8 speeds is the ideal number of speeds in an automatic transmission?
You like the 8-speed?
I don't think it's been bettered. I don't think like a 9-speed is better or a 10-speed is better. And
but what about a 7?
No, 7's just weird to me. It's like 7 feels like an afterthought. Like they're like, here's an extra gear.
Yeah. But 8, you think they put more thought into.
I think the spread is better.
I think the gearing in this car is perfect. The ratios are really, really good. However, I feel like there's sometimes when the transmission can like gear up a little too early, like or and not gear down when I needed to, especially in like curves in the back roads. Like when we shoot videos, we end up doing them in these like fairly rural areas with lots of like curves and stuff. And
I didn't think there were curves in Ontario.
There's very few of them, and I'm always so surprised that like throttle on through this curve, the car is like in the wrong gear entirely. And I'm like, what are you doing? You've got 8 gears to choose from.
What you've done is you've activated stolen car mode because no one would ever like hit the throttle mid corner in an Atlas. And
throttle exit. I mean, corner exit.
So it knows that and it instantly limps.
The other thing that I found very interesting about this 4-cylinder is that as a whole, the powertrain is rated to tow 5,000 pounds, which sounds like a lot for a little 4-cylinder to do. But it all adds to this sort of like practicality appeal that the Atlas can deliver. I was really impressed by this. I just wanted to overall say that it was much better than I was anticipating. I truly think that this deserves to be mentioned alongside the Kia, the Hyundai, and the Toyota Grand Highlander. I think you and I have both talked about the Pilot and the CX-90 before, which are also in this class. And I don't think those are quite like overwhelmingly easy to recommend cars. But I think
the Acadia and the Traverse and whatnot.
Yeah, the Traverse actually it doesn't get enough credit either because it's just not fancy, I think. But I like the Traverse, especially if you can get it with Super Cruise. Like basically any GM that you can get with Super Cruise immediately puts it near the top of my list. It could be like the slowest thing ever. But anyways, in the US, you would get this car you can get it for as little as $40,000, $41,000. And then the range topping model that I had was closer to $56,000. It's an okay bargain. And it just doesn't. What I like about that is it's not much more expensive than any of the rivals. So I think that the price range is really. Usually Volkswagen can like, oh, you're getting a German car, so it's a little bit more expensive, and that's just not the case. I think it's right in line with the rest of its competition. and I was pleasantly surprised. I actually think that this car is very good, but you have to deal with that infotainment system, and you have to deal with the fact that like next month they're going to depreciate the value of this 26 model by introducing a 27.
So maybe wait and get it on sale.
Yeah, the rumor is, I don't know if this is true or not, but they've in last year I went to the LA Auto Show I think it was last year, to see the reveal of the new Tiguan, which is really, really pretty, really cool, and lots of technology. But in an interview, they announced that they are very likely going to be bringing hybrids, an in-house hybrid technology, to the next generation Volkswagen Atlas. And so the new gen Atlas is coming. So I would expect a hybrid technology, a hybrid powertrain to come to this thing. But and first of all of its competition the best of its competition have a hybrid powertrain in terms of the Palisade and the Toyota Grand Highlander. But those cars can be much more expensive because of those powertrains. So there goes like the Volkswagen's kind of like price to performance like asset if the price goes up with this hybrid powertrain. So, and also a new like first year of a new gen with a new powertrain sounds like a recipe for some long-term ownership headaches, right?
Is there anything else you want to talk about with the Atlas?
No, much. It needed this refresh. It got it, and I think it's a surprisingly decent 3-row crossover.
So there's one last little thing I wanted to talk about on this week's episode, and that is some news that came out about Honda actually today, just before we were recording.
Honda, what happened?
Well, they had planned to release a trio of electric vehicles that were being built in the United States. And these things were essentially finished and ready to go. We're talking about the Zero. What are they called, Sammy?
Yeah, I think they're Zero.
Like the Zero series. You know the series. What's it called?
Aren't they called the Zero series?
I don't think that sounds weird. But in any case, it was like two fairly out there in terms of styling electric vehicles, but then a more normal-ish RSX replacement for Acura. It was going to be a electric crossover. These three vehicles are now canceled. Not only are they canceled, but Honda is going to take a $7.5 billion loss, a write down on the investment into these platforms.
Holy moly! And
the executive who's running the program, I don't know if it's the CEO of Honda or whatever, they're taking a pay cut to go with this for at least a period of time.
So Zero Saloon and Zero SUV, which were unveiled at CES 2025, We've known these things to be coming for a really long time.
And these prototypes have been seen out on the road driving around.
And people have driven, I think, Accords with this powertrain.
I'm not sure.
I've read.
You have to assume that this means that the Sony Afeela.
Oh yeah, of course. They forgot that they even had this whole thing.
Being built in partnership with Honda, that's going to be dead too. But I want to just mention,
or is it? Because that's like a niche vehicle. They're probably going to make like 14 of them.
No, I think this would have been niche anyway. Anyway. The point of this is the reason this is happening is because of the changed regulatory environment in the United States, which is being perceived by car companies as incredibly hostile to electric vehicles, just in the sense that there's no more incentive from a tax perspective for people to buy the cars. There are loosening restrictions on fuel economy, and I assume emissions is coming with that. And what appears to be happening is some automakers in the US market, and these were going to be built in the United States, so tariffs would not have applied to Honda here. But what's happening is companies are doubling down on gas, because in a short-sighted, please the shareholders kind of way, it seems like the cheapest thing to do for them. In a real world sense, though, what I think is happening is we're seeing the first examples of how the American market is going to become an island of internal combustion in a world of electric vehicles, because the rest of the world, Europe especially and Asia especially, are moving towards battery powered vehicles at a rapid pace. And
let's be clear, though. This Honda story of the Zero series being canceled is just the latest, because the Ioniq 6 in the US is being canceled, but not in Canada.
That's because of where it's built.
The Nissan Ariya as well is no longer going to be produced going forward.
Chevrolet Bolt is being canceled.
And the Chevrolet Bolt. Those are three mainstream relatively good EVs.
Now the Bolt is being canceled because GM can't build the Envision in China anymore because of tariffs, and they need the plant space in the United States, and they've decided that, well, we're going to have a single model year EV because these Envisions are more profitable, I guess, to build. The bottom line, I think, is car companies are not good at planning for the long term, especially when it comes to profit. So if a car company looks at the market and says, right now, it's going to be hard for us to make money selling electric vehicles in the United States, even if 10 years from now, it will be the de facto standard, or it will be normalized to the point where it will be profitable for us. And GM is already profitable on Ultium. They've already talked about that. So instead of making that long-term plan, they're like, no, shareholders demand increased value every single quarter, so we have to focus on the ICE vehicles. It's going to be a big problem. I think that, you can't isolate a market like this and remain globally competitive, because car companies around the world that aren't primarily serving the US market will be continuing to have a diversity of power plants.
Does it just make the Tesla the de facto American EV? That's it?
I don't even know how Tesla's going to move forward, because
I don't know.
There are companies that have decided to stop buying credits from them. And that was their primary business, was selling the eco credits to ICE manufacturers. The other dimension to this is you have to wonder about Honda, because Honda does not have an EV, right?
No, nothing.
They were licensing GM. Now they're not doing that. Even Toyota has gotten on the EV bandwagon, and they hate battery-powered vehicles.
Well, they're dragging Subaru into it, which is my favorite part of the whole process.
But they're doing it, right? So all the things I just said about American market-facing companies being left behind potentially by the rest of the world, Honda is in the most precarious position out of all of these.
Mazda too, maybe?
But Mazda is a tiny company, and I'm not super worried about them because it's a different situation, I think. Honda has a large presence in the United States and a pretty large presence globally, but that's not written in stone. There's nothing about them that says that they will continue to be a major manufacturer. If they avoid electric vehicles altogether, is that really a viable thing for Honda to do?
It all depends. I mean, they need to make money in order to I guess maybe grow product in some way or another. I don't know. I don't know if this is the process that they need to do that, by cutting their losses on this investment of EVs, which is insane. It seems like it was nearly finished. And let's be clear, they sell EVs in all sorts of different markets. Some are Chinese joint ventures, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think Honda has an internally developed electric vehicle that's on sale anywhere. I don't think so. I don't know, but I don't think so.
I thought they did. Those really cute EV, Honda E.
Oh, the tiny little city thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's called the N1 or something like that.
I just called it the E. That's all I know it is, the E.
That's a specific to...
But it's out of production now.
Was that specific to the Japanese market?
And Europe.
I feel like what you said about them worrying about cost, if you take a look at nearly every company that's gone in big on electric vehicles over the last 15 years, they all had a situation where they were losing money on vehicles, and then they stuck it out and they became profitable, except for maybe Ford. I don't know if Ford was ever able to really become profitable with vehicles like the Lightning pickup, but GM became profitable. I would think BMW is profitable on its EVs because I don't think they're small enough to absorb huge losses. And Hyundai is definitely profitable on electric vehicles. And they went through that pain period because they needed to build market share. Honda's not doing that.
I can't believe that they're killing these. And again, it seems like at 3 cars for sure that are relatively mainstream in the RSX, the SUV, and
the Zeros were not mainstream. They look wild.
They look wild, but they wouldn't have been like $100,000 cars,
No. Anyway,
but to kill them before they even have a chance,
$7.5 billion down the drain.
At that, how much worse could it have gotten?
How much are you gonna have to spend to catch up to yourself 5 years from now if the market takes a turn towards electric vehicles that you didn't see?
Now, here's what I do know about Honda is that they're planning on delivering hybrids in the near future. So now they're finally going to catch up to Toyota in that kind of potentially catch up to Toyota.
They've had hybrids a long time. You know, we've had the hybrid Civic,
amazing.
We've had the hybrid Accord.
Yeah, the Civic and the CRV and the Accord. Yeah, they're actually pretty good. But now we're gonna get a V6 hybrid.
Oh, well, that's right up your alley.
I don't know what to say, man.
It just feels like a stunning thing to do. And I think that sometimes we give car companies too much credit for planning.
Mm-hmm.
And then something like this happens and you realize that a very large organization can make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes can have super huge consequences down the road. We're looking at Stellantis right now, right? Which is a car company that has not invested in new product in a long time.
How can you say that? They have invested. They just don't know what they're doing. Like that Daytona or whatever it's called, the Hornet and the new, like, remember they were going to have a Ram that was going to be
the
super
Hornet
cool?
Is not new product. It's something that came from Fiat
Sure.
or Alfa Romeo or whatever. The Ram never existed. They have Chrysler sells one vehicle, Dodge sells two vehicles, kind of. I guess the Charger and the Durango. The Durango hasn't changed in 15 years.
Is this Daytona not a product anymore?
The electric vehicle, I think it's gone.
But there's a gas version coming, or there is a gas version.
I said the Charger. That's out right now.
Yeah.
Yes. So they have not invested in new product. You can't have two vehicles in the showroom and claim to be a full line automaker. Is Honda going to be in that situation with electric vehicles 5 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be a game plan that we're just seeing repeat itself. And I know it seems impossible because Honda's like, oh, they're known for engineering and all this, and they have a large base in their home country as well. But you don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure that they are. I think that they will survive because they have bigger markets than the U.S. I mean, Stellantis theoretically has Europe as well with Fiat.
Theoretically, yes. And I think that in many ways, that's a very interesting concept in that what used to be a really big cash cow for them in America and a dependable market is now changing to them in a couple of ways, especially in terms of, what new product you'll bring to them. But it does seem like you're right. The American market just really wants to stick with this internal combustion engine thing. The V8s are probably coming back.
It's an instability, and when things are unstable, you can't plan.
Which I don't understand. From what I understand, the war that's happening in the Middle East now can impact, or probably will impact, oil prices and gas prices.
It's close to $100 a barrel,
especially in North America. And these are the kinds of changes that will potentially push people towards hybrid and gas products, or at least efficient products. And if Honda had an EV to answer those problems, they would be able to, sweep it up, right?
In any case, if you have any thoughts out there about Honda's EV problem, or what we perceive to be Honda's EV problem, or any other things that you want to talk to us about, you can reach out in a number of ways. The easiest thing is to go to unnamedautomotivepodcast.com and fill out the contact form that's on there that ends up directly in our inbox. Mm-hmm. Or you can email the old-fashioned way, benjamin@benjaminhunting.com, or you can pester Sami on social media. He's on Instagram. He's at Sami_ha, like you're laughing.
I love it when people head on over to our website, Unnamed Automotive Podcast, because there's a list of all of our previous episodes. There's probably 10 years worth of previous episodes to listen to. I think that's crazy. Don't you think that's wild?
It's a lot.
You can see previous episodes. You can subscribe to the show using some buttons at the top. And what else can you do?
That's pretty much it.
Is that the purpose of the website?
It's still pretty good.
Anything else we want to talk about? I think we should tell people what we're going to be driving next week.
Next week, I'm going to be talking to everyone about the Genesis GV70, the gas version this time.
And GV70?
GV70.
Very cool. I'll be talking about the Volkswagen GTI.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See you later.